Welcome to everyone to Sauce Time Gaming. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video once again. And as you're seeing on the screen, we're getting right into it. Episode 3 of the Recoil Breakdown Series, where we strive to show you the best recoil attachments for each Vanguard weapon to get you on your best weapon setup way. Now, as always, we tested the base recoil for the weapon, the 3 muzzle attachments that control recoil, the 2 barrels as well as under barrels that control recoil. The only recoil controlling mag in this case is the 60, so we checked that one out. The other ones affect the recoil. We tested the 6 different grips, which we saw that the polymer grip was really the worst one, so that's the one I would recommend not to use. The 3 stocks, which really spice things up depending on how you want to use your weapon. I really like the stats on these because they really make your weapon, they really vary your weapon up. I really enjoy the difference in stats there. And we tested the perks that affect recoil without any third-party influence, like Icy Veins, which only comes in play when you are hurt. In regards to Brace, I did test many times but got somewhat inconsistent results with it, so I would really just stay away from that one for now, just because of that inconsistency. So I have 3 setups for you today. I have a long range setup, which is pretty much the MX silencer because you don't want to miss out with the damage range here. So this is probably going to be the staple muzzle until some sort of tuning happens with any other attachment. But the MX silencer, the 22-inch Cooper Custom, this is just so it gives you that reduced scope sway and gun bob, so you have the best aim and stability for those long range engagements. I'm using this side here, but to be honest, this is pretty much up to you, so I'm kind of going to leave these spaces blank for you. The M1941 hand stock, just to give you the best recoil control. It affects your hip fire accuracy, but that's really not much to worry about. 60 round drum mag because the amount of ammunition purely. The rubber grip, just so it gives you recoil control and it affects nothing else, so you're kind of just getting a benefit with no other alteration to the weapon's aim down sight time or movement speed or whatever the case may be. The Cooper 45W stock here, this is just so it gives you the best control as you're kind of trying to hold down that fire at long distances. And if you do decide to crouch or prone or mount the weapon, you do get some extra control as well. It affects your movement speed, but with this you would normally be running an SMG in your secondary class, so this should be the best option for you. And then tight grip, because this tight grip and hard scope, they give you pretty much the best control overall, so I guess it's just personal preference. Maybe the recoil control is affected differently based on how you build a weapon, but tight grip is going to be a perfect suit for this build right here. And then for the optic, you can run whatever you want. I personally like to run the night vision is something I like to run, and the 3 to 6x, these are just my personal preferences so far. I do like the 2.5x from time to time, so these are kind of my 3 sights, but you choose truly whatever you feel more comfortable with. Perk 2, you can run fully loaded. This is probably the most helpful one of the perk 2 slots. And then the ammunition, you can kind of do whatever you feel is more fun to run. FMJ rounds, lengthened, the compressed rounds specifically for the Cooper are very good and they don't affect the recoil, which is also great. Accuracy is no longer part of Bloom at this point, so you can pretty much take advantage of having no downsides for this. And incendiary if you want to be a little more cheesy, but whatever really you prefer here. That's the long range Cooper Carbine build. The sniper support build here is just kind of a more close quarter approach. Again, Mercury silencer, well, not again, but Mercury silencer in this case because we're not aiming to challenge fights at too long of a range. That's why we're going to be running our sniper. The Cooper Custom here still gives you just the best control and it gives you good fire rate. To kind of compensate the downsides of the barrel, we're running the M3 Ready Grip just to kind of increase our sprint to fire, aim down sight speed, and aim walking speed. It affects the recoil control a little bit, but again, we're not challenging people at too long ranges. Then, for the mag size, you can choose whatever you want, but the 45 round just so it doesn't slow you down as much, and it gives you a little bit extra damage, so you can take people down a little bit quicker if you're maybe taking more than one enemy out at a time. Stippled grip take here just so it gives you that initial firing recoil because you're going to be challenging people at a closer range, so you want to make sure that your recoil is as strong as possible at the very beginning. And the recoil recovery is just so you kind of recenter back as quickly as possible if you have to switch targets at a close range. The vital perk here is a great one because it gives you that increased torso damage, and it affects your recoil control and accuracy, but again, you're challenging people at a closer range, so the recoil shouldn't be that big of a deal. The Cooper 45 RS, because again, you're getting that initial fire and recoil control, and you're getting aim down sight speed as a bonus as well. I don't think you'd be wanting to hip fire this gun anytime soon, so the fact that 2 attachments are affecting your hip fire, I think it was this one here, is really not that big of a deal, right? And again, the optic perk 2, probably fully loaded, and the type of ammunition is completely up to you. I really like the iron sights of this weapon, both the stock iron sights as well as the one you get with this specific blueprint, which are kind of a trident. So you can run whatever you want in the sights, or you can just run the iron sights if you are one of those fans like I am. And then the ammunition, whatever you want to run, is perfectly fine for you. I place the compressed rounds here because the fire rate increases, then it just makes it more forgiving if you are missing some shots at a close range. And last but not least, the no recoil setup. Now, the reason why this is really not the long range setup is because this, to get this no recoil setup, it's sort of, you need to kind of make some conditions happen, right? And so let's talk about it. The MX silencer here, because again, we don't want to affect the damage range. I'm running the Ragdoll G45 because this one actually gave a way tighter recoil pattern. So this is, again, we're trying to aim for the most no recoil setup we can. So I'm definitely going for this just because of the fact that it's a no recoil setup. The sight, again, is up to you. The ammunition type is up to you. Perk 2 is up to you as well. But let's talk about the bipod, which is pretty much the strongest attachment this weapon can run at the moment, because you're getting these recoil patterns where if you're not mounted crouched or prone, you're getting a very strong recoil pattern. But if you go ahead and crouch, you'll get an even stronger pattern. And if you prone is where you're going to get a pretty much negligible recoil pattern at that point, which is close to zero recoil. And that's what you really want to enjoy. Again, it's a more of a, you have to sort of make these conditions happen, which is crouching or proning, to actually get the no recoil setup. But you know, it doesn't have the downsides of affecting your hip fire accuracy. It just affects the sprint to fire, and you're getting a strong recoil pattern already. And in the situation where you're able to mount crouch or prone, you're getting an extremely strong recoil pattern that you're not getting with any other attachment. So it is conditional, but if you do get those conditions right, you can destroy someone at pretty much any range if you do really want to. We're running the 60 round drum just because you want to have as much ammo as possible. The grooved grip, just so it gives us the ADS firing move speed and the aim walking movement speed, because we're kind of going to be aiming down sight as much as possible to get the either if we're proning or we're crouched. And we're also kind of tying it into this perk 1, which we're using hard scope, which it gives you accuracy and recoil control when you're in a sustained aim down sight time. So it kind of just ties in together, so you can kind of move from side to side as you are aimed down sight, maximizing on the actual benefit of this control. Again, hard scope and tight grip give you a relatively similar control, but this is just kind of to use something different in a way. So Cooper 45W stock is sort of also necessary because this one gives you the recoil control when you're mounted, crouched, or prone as well. So you can sort of stack these together to really get that close to zero recoil pattern, which I'm showing you here. So the optic is up to you, ammunition is up to you, and the perk 2 is up to you. But this is pretty much the build you want to run if you want a pretty much zero recoil Cooper Carbine setup. And there you have it, the best recoil setup for the Cooper Carbine. I want to know in the comment section down below if you find this an actual helpful build and practical as well. I know you have to crouch and prone for these things. I know it's a conditional recoil or zero recoil build. However, I hope you enjoyed me giving you 3 different types of setups so you could try them in different ways of playing the game. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's content and today's video. If you did, hit that like button down below. Comment if you want to see any other weapon before all the others, and I'll get that one done first in regards to the recoil breakdown videos. So subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned with all the regulars for Sauce Time Gaming. I thank you so much for clicking on today's video and reaching the end if you did. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and as always, I hope you always remember Sauce Time Gaming.